The ferrymen are among the oldest entities known to our fractured universe. They are not anomalies in the traditional sense, nor are they predators or deceivers. Their purpose is singular and unwavering, to help those who truly wish to leave this reality behind. They only answer when the call is genuine, when the desire to depart one's universe has become complete and unfaltering. It is this desire that begins the process, the silent signal that draws them towards you. Yet even then, finding a ferryman is no easy task. They never appear in the same form twice. To one person, they may arrive as a weary cab driver waiting in the rain. To another, they may be a tuk-tuk driver. Some even report meeting them as literal ferrymen. The only constant is this: they will carry a trace of your past, a detail so intimate, so personal, that it cannot be mistaken. Perhaps the driver's dashboard holds a toy you once loved as a child. Perhaps the hat on their head is the same your father used to wear. The ferryman reveals themselves through a fragment of your own life. When you find them, the process begins with a single question: where can you take me? If the person replies, wherever your heart desires, then you have found one of the ferrymen. From there, the journey begins. Enter their vehicle, whether it be a taxi, a boat, or a hot air balloon, and prepare for the price. The ferrymen do not accept money. They will never take coins or bills, nor gold, nor jewels. Their payment is memory. The moment they request it, a photograph will appear upon your person. This photograph depicts a moment from your life, a memory dear to you, one the ferryman desires. The test is simple. Are you truly ready to leave this reality behind? If you are, you will hand it over. When you do, that memory vanishes from your mind forever. You will lose it, not just in detail, but in feeling. The warmth of it will go dark. The photograph disappears into the ferryman's hands, and you will pass into unconsciousness. When you wake, it will be in the reality you most desire. The ride itself is not idle. While in the ferryman's care, you may imagine vividly the world you wish to enter. The ferryman cannot read your thoughts, but they can align the destination with your intentions. The universe is infinite. Its reality is uncountable. Every dream, every nightmare, every absurdity exists somewhere. You may choose a world where adventures never end, where you fight beside creatures from childhood fairy tales. You may choose one where dinosaurs were never wiped away, and humankind lives among thunder lizards as equals. Some long only for a world free of anomalies, where life is simple and safe, where the worst threat on a quiet street is the fear of a common thief. It is possible, though perhaps unimaginative. And as a word of warning, never choose a world where everything is made of chocolate. It may sound whimsical, but gets boring very quickly. But what if you cannot pay? What if the photograph that appears is too precious, too sacred to lose? In that case, you will awaken exactly where you met the ferryman. They will vanish and your chance will be lost. They do not take refusal lightly. The next time you wish to seek them, it will be far more difficult. The path narrows each time one hesitates. To outright deny them with politeness may spare you punishment, but it closes doors. Should you attempt to cheat them, rob them, or threaten them, what happens next depends on their mood. In the kindest case, you are returned to your world unharmed, but such mercy is rare. More often, those who disrespect the ferryman are left in realities that are less than desirable. There are stories, hundreds of them, of those who mistreated ferrymen and paid the price. A doctor, arrogant and cruel, attempted to strike a bargain beyond the price. He awoke in a world where humanity had devolved into twisted eyeless creatures of the night. For 5 years he endured, unable to escape, because he could never create a memory worth surrendering in that place. A woman who spat in one's face was left in a reality where the earth had drowned, oceans swallowing continents, the sky black with storms. She survived for a time, clinging to rafts of debris before somehow finding another ferryman and pleading for release. And perhaps most grim, 2 teenagers attempted to rob a ferryman outright. They awoke in a world where the dominant life form had evolved not from apes, but from rodents. A civilization of vermin who farmed and consumed humans as livestock. These stories, unlike the many myths that circle around the ferrymen, have been verified. Survivors of these encounters have returned and given testimony directly to the Office of Anomaly Safety. In 2001, we were permitted something extremely rare, an interview with one of their kind. The Ferrymen spoke, reluctantly, of their beginnings. Long ago, they were disciples of an ancient god, the god of memories. The name of this god will not be shared on the request of interviewed individual. The Ferrymen explained that gods are not like us. They do not die easily. They fade. When their names cease to be chanted, when their stories cease to be told, they drift into silence, into something like death, but not final. The god of memories was forgotten on his own world. As he waned, he gifted his most loyal followers with eternal life and the ability to traverse realities, ensuring they could continue where he could not. Thus, the first ferrymen were born. For millennia, they wandered, exploring realms beyond imagination. They grew restless, searching not for refuge, but for meaning. It was during these travels they discovered ancient methods, ways by which a god could be revived. There were 3 paths. The first, to make enough people chant the god's name once more, to rebuild faith until it became reality. But this path was dangerous. The ferrymen knew that with countless voices, countless interpretations, the god might revive corrupted, twisted by the expectations of those who barely understood him. The second method, to gather in abundance the very object the god governed. In this case, memories. This was the path they chose. There was a third path that they simply refused to share with us. At first, they harvested by force, stealing, robbing, tearing memory from unwilling minds. But they soon abandoned this. It was too slow, too violent, and they feared such harm might taint the god's return. Instead, they turned to service. They offered choice, a fair exchange, a life for a memory, a new world in return for a treasured fragment of the old. And thus, the ferrymen became what they are now. According to the ferrymen we spoke to, their work will take time, only a few 100,000 years, a mere blip in their eternal existence. But eventually, with enough memories collected, the god of memories will awaken. There are some misconceptions that must be dispelled. Many believe the ferrymen are human. They are not. They hail from a civilization far older than ours, a species that reached sentience before humankind's first spark. Their natural form is alien, unrecognizable, but they do not appear as such. They explain this themselves. No one would trust an offer made by a creature they could not even comprehend. So they adapt. In every reality, they take on the likeness of the dominant sentient life. In our world, they look human. Elsewhere, they may look otherwise. This power, they admitted, was not a gift of their god. It was something they learned themselves. During their endless journeys through reality, the ferrymen endure, they wait. They do not rush, for eternity is theirs. They are neither kind nor cruel, only consistent. They offer escape, but never without cost. And in the quiet transactions of memory and desire, they are building something greater than we can imagine. Whether this revival is to be celebrated or feared, we do not know. Dusk broadcast signing off. Stay tuned, stay safe.